Hello, it's Gem Games, and in this video I'm gonna show you how to create a simple animation blueprint. So yeah, let's get started. First, we want to go to the folder where we want to create the animation blueprint. So let's go to the third person and to the blueprints. Let's create it here, so they are all on the same folder. It's easier to access the blueprints. So yeah, let's right click and go to the animation and animation blueprint. Now we want to select the skeleton. If you're not using the mannequin skeleton, you want to select the skeleton that your mesh is using. Okay, I want to use this one because this is the UE5 skeleton. This SK mannequin skeleton is UE4, as you can see on the there. Okay, so we want to use this one. Let's create and let's call this test character app, like that. Now let's open it. So here first we want to go to the event graph, and here on the try get pawn owner we want to first get a is valid node, this with the question mark, and let's connect it to here like that. Let's compile, and if it is valid then we want to cast to our blueprint class, so cast to third person character like that. Let's connect it to here to is valid like that. Now let's add a reroute to here so everything better. Let's align these and let's align these. We can align stuff with selecting them and pressing Q. Okay. And now what we want to do, we want to first get from here, we need the velocity so we know when the player is moving. So we want to get the movement component, get character movement. And from here we want to get velocity. It should be here at the bottom. This is vector, so it's yellow. Okay. Now, if we want to use velocity from all directions, so it's including the Z axis, so the up axis, then we can just promote this to a variable. But if we want to use only the ground values, then we want to get vector length x, y. Okay, this is only the ground speed. Actually, let's put them a little bit cleaner, like this, so we have more space. Now we promote this to a variable, and now we call it ground velocity, for example. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is we want to check if the player is jumping. So let's get from the character movement and is falling. Okay, now from here let's move it to here, for example. Let's promote it also to a variable and connect it to here. So this we can call in air, for example. Okay, compile and save. And that's basically all that we need for now. So now let's go to the Anim graph. Here we have this output pose. So if we put here, for example, the mm idle, I will show you. If we compile, you can see she's idling. And now if we go to our PP third person character and we set this anim blueprint to the, and we go to the viewport and click the mesh, and we set that anim blueprint that we created. So test character app. Now you can see she's idling. Let's compile, save, and go test what it does. It's always idling. She doesn't have any animations yet. Okay, this doesn't look good. But yeah, let's add the animations. So what we want to do now is we want to create a blend space. So when we are moving, the animations will blend between two animations. So let's right click, let's go to the animation, and let's search for blend space. And actually we need legacy blend space 1D. Okay, let's select the skeleton that we are using, so SK mannequin. Let's call this logo motion underscore BS. And it doesn't stand for, you know what? It stands for blend space. Okay, let's open it. Let's change this. Let's actually check what is our maximum walking speed. So let's go to the BP third person character and do the character movement. Here we can see here max walk speed 500 centimeters per second. So 5 meters per second. Okay, and if you want to adjust this, please do it now. So we can make the animations work with that value. Now, here on the horizontal axis, we want to call this velocity. And the minimum exit value should be 0. And the maximum, let's make it the 500 that we have there, or whatever you had. Okay, now what we want to do, we already have animations here, because this is the UE5 mannequin. We have all these animations, but if you're using your own animations, you can use them now. So first, we want to add this walking animation that we have. Okay, and when we add it to here, we might want to make the walking values a little bit, or the play rate a little bit lower. So let's make it like 0.25. Oh, let's make it 0.2. Now you can see, like this. Okay, let's make it actually like 0.25, yeah. Okay, and now on the, let's go for example to 100 and maybe 200, something like that. And here, let's get the walk forward animation or whatever animation you're using. Let's put it here to the 200. You can also here change the location. And let's make it 1. So now it's blending between these animations. Okay? So now that we have added both of these here, we want to add the running animation. So we have this where is it? Okay. Here the running animation. We should add it here at the end. Okay, now you can see the animations are blending between the two. So here we are walking, here we're walking a little bit faster, and here we are running. Okay, so let's say, now we can close this. And let's go back to the test a character app. Now we can delete this from here. Now we want to actually create a state machine. So let's search for a state machine. Let's call this state machine locomotion. Okay, let's connect it to here. Now let's open the locomotion. Let's add a state here. We can add a idle state, for example, let's call it idle. And now let's also add a movement state. So let's call this state movement. Okay, now let's go to the idle. Here we want to get our idle animation and we want to connect it to here. Like that, let's compile. Now let's go back. Now the condition that we can call to the movement, we want to check if our ground velocity is greater than some value. And what I usually use here is I put like 1 or maybe 2. You can test and try whatever fits best for you. Let's compile. Now if we go back, we want to also add the animation to the movement. So we want to come here and we want to get the blend space that we created. So locomotion blend space. Okay. And just for a quick tip, if you select the incorrect one, you can change all these from here. Okay, so you don't have to always delete it and stuff like that. And yeah, here we want to check that if the check that the looping is true. Okay, now let's connect it to here, and now we want to get the ground speed and get it to here and connect it to velocity like that. So now it's checking our ground velocity that we are getting on here on the event graph. And it is changing the animations according to that. Okay, compile, save. Now let's go back to the locomotion state and let's get from this corner. You don't want to get from here because it will move this. You want to get from this corner and back here on this corner like that. Now this is the rule that when we are coming back from there, or when we are coming. Okay, let's open it. Here we want to get the ground velocity, and we want to check if it's less than something. And usually you can put like 0.1 maybe. Okay, like that. Let's compile and say. Now let's go back to locomotion. I will actually go to the idle and check if this is looping. Okay, this is not. Idle, we want to check that this is looping, or otherwise it only plays one time. Okay, let's compile, save. Now if we go to play, you can see we can already move, and we have animations and stuff like that. So it is looking a lot better. But now if we jump, she's running in the air, and that's not looking very good. Okay. So next thing we want to do, let's go back to the locomotion. What we want to do here, I usually create a state alias, and let's call this to jump, for example. Okay? And this is just alias for this. You can basically create the jump state and get from both of these. But if you have a lot of stuff here, you want to create these, so you can these basically act as these. So if we add here, I will actually show you. Let's add here the state jump loop, for example. If we connect from here to here, so, and click here the idle and the movement. So now basically this acts as these. So whatever rule we have here, it can go from this and this straight to here. Okay, this is like alias for this. Okay, now what we want to do here, let's open this rule. We want to check if is in air. Okay, align them better. Let's compile, save, and go to the locomotion. Now on the jump loop, what we want to do here, we want to get the jump animation that we have. What kind of jump animation? Here, fall loop. Okay, let's make it looping, loop animation. Let's connect it to the result, like that. Let's compile and save all. And now, if we go back, now we have the jump loop. Now we have to connect it back to the here. Okay, and this rule should be it's in air and not Boolean. So when we are not in air, or when this variable is not true. Okay, let's align this and compile and save. So now let's go and try. You can see it's not looking the best. Now we can still do some adjustments here, because now he doesn't have the jump animation. He only has she only has the fall animation, and also she doesn't have the landing animation. So we can add those. So now we want to get from this and create another state to here, and let's call it jumping, for example. So this is the animation that when we are jumping up. Okay, so this rule is in air. So when we are basically even falling, it goes to here. But when we are jumping, we want to go here. So what we want to do now, we want to go to the event graph, and here where we have this velocity, here we want to get also from this velocity, and we want to break vector like that. And now let's actually move this a little bit further down, like that. And now we want to promote this set value also to variable. Okay, let's call this set value. Let's call it set velocity. So it's velocity going up and down. And let's move it over this in air. So now we have both of these velocities here. Okay, let's compile and actually let's save all. Now let's go back to the locomotion. So here, what we need here is we want to get if we are in air, and also we want to check if, let's get the end boolean, and we want to get if our, check if our set velocity, let's get it, and let's get if it, check if it's greater than, for example, 50, like that. Let's move it to here. So now we are checking if we are in the air and our set velocity is greater, we're going up basically. Okay, let's compile and save. Now let's go back to the locomotion. And from here, we can just make this automatic rule based on the sequence player in state. Okay, let's make that true. And yeah, now one thing we have to do here, we want to add the jump animation here. So jump. So let's add it to here, or whatever jump animation you have. And we don't want to loop it. We want to make the looping false. Let's compile and save. Now let's go back. So basically, if we are falling, we go through this, and if we're jumping, we go through here. Now we want to change this priority from here to 2. Okay? And this should be 1. Okay? Like that. So now let's see what happens. Compile and save, and let's go to the map and play. Let's see. You can see she's jumping, but if we go from over the end, you can see she's only falling. Okay, so that works. One thing we also want to do, or can do, we don't necessarily want to do it, but we can also add a landing state. So from the jump loop, we can create yet another state here, and we can delete that condition that we had from here to here. Okay, and we can call this to land, for example. And you don't have to use these underscores. You can use spaces, but I'm used to them, so I will use them. And now from here, we want to check if we are not falling. So it's in air, not boolean. Let's connect it to here. Let's align these. Let's compile and save all. Now let's go back here. So when we are not in the air, then we want to play our landing animation if we have that. Okay. But now one thing we want to do, if we want to do this with additive animation, then we have to copy both of these stages from here, idle and movement, Control and C. Now let's go back to the anim graph. Let's create yet another state machine. And we can actually call this locomotion. Let's just call it loco now. Okay, let's open it and paste those states like that. They should be as they were before. So idle, rule, ground velocity more, ground velocity less, and movement is the blend space. Okay, let's go back. We had to do this way because now we can catch this. So basically save this. So save, catch, post. Let's call this locomotion, for example. Okay, now we actually want to, let's call this, for example, main loco or main states, something like that. Okay, this is just I will show you. So now we open this and we can delete both of these, and we want to just create a new state, and let's call that locomotion. And here on this state, what we want to do here, let's open it, and we want to get this locomotion, use catch, post locomotion, like that. Let's connect it to here. Let's compile and save. Okay. Now we have basically this state is same as this whole thing here. Okay. And now here on to land, what we want to do, we want to apply additive like this. And what we want to do here, we want to get from the base and also get the locomotion. This. And here to the additive, we want to add the land or whatever land animation that you have. Let's add it here. Okay. And actually, you want to go to the land or whatever land animation you have. And you should have set all these additive anim type, local space. Okay, so it works. And then, yeah, if you're using this, it should work fine. But if you're using some other landing animation, you should you maybe have to tweak them a little bit. Okay, let's save and close. So let's go back here. So now we have added that. Now let's go back to the main states, and from here, let's connect to here, and this rule, oh, sorry, we don't want to open it. This rule just should be also automatic rule based on sequence player in state, like that. Let's compile, save, and let's go and try. So now if we jump, okay, oh, sorry about that. What we want to do here, want to click this jump, and we want to add that locomotion state here. So this is basically like this, but without this link. Let's save and go to test. So now if we jump, we have all the animations that we need. You can see we are running, we're jumping, we are landing. And one thing, if you want to make this look somehow different, you can click on these rules, and here is the duration. And this is basically blend settings, so how much it blends the animations together. So if we go to here to the jumping, if we make this like 0.5 and we go to play, let's see if it affects somehow. You can see the jumping animation comes, it has half a second blend, so it comes a little bit slowly. Okay, you can make some animations look a lot better with this, but I will leave this as 0.2. Okay, and if you add some other states here, you can add here whatever you need. So, for example, if we go to the third-person character and to the event graph, if we add here, let's go to the project settings, let's add an input. Let's add here action mapping. Let's call this action mapping a sprint, for example. Let's map it to the shift key. Okay, now we can close this. And if we add that sprint action event here, and when pressed, we want to get the character movement, and we want to set max walk speed. And our normal max walk speed was 500, and if you adjusted it, please remember it or check it from here. 500 is for us. Now let's set it, for example, to 1000, just for the trying. Okay, now let's copy this node here at the bottom, and let's connect from the released. Now let's set this normal value that we have here, so 500. Okay, let's make this 500, and let's connect the character movement also to here. Now we can actually move this a little bit closer so it doesn't look that bad. Compile and save. So now if we play, we keep the shift pressed. You can see she runs super fast, but she doesn't yet have any animations on that. So if we want to add some animations like that, we actually, let's, where am I? Let's go to the blueprints, and here we have this locomotion blend space. We can actually duplicate it. We can call it, for example, sprint blend space, and let's delete the one from the end. Okay, let's open it, and here we can delete this animation on the middle, so we only have here and the start and on the end. Let's change these values. So let's delete both of these first, it's easier. Now the maximum value, let's make it the max walk speed, so the run speed, so 1000, and minimum, let's make it 500, like that. Now let's get our running animation, so run forward, let's get it to here. So it should be rate scale 1 or whatever you have set on the other blend space. And now if we go to the 1000, we set this also to there. We want to change it to, in this case, to 2, but you can check what looks best for you. I know this animation doesn't look very good, but this is just for testing purpose. Okay, let's save. And now we can close this. So now let's go back to the test character ABP. And we want to go to local motion here. So anim graph and here to the local. And here on the movement, we want to add yet another state. Let's call this sprint or run or whatever. And this rule, we can basically do this two ways. So we can, if we are pressing the shift key, but that's not the good way in my opinion. What I want to do here is I want to get the ground velocity and I want to check if it's greater, and our max normal walking speed was 500. So I want to make this for like 510. So if when we press the shift key and we start to run, this changes. Okay, now let's go back to local and let's add the sprint animation or the blend space to here. So sprint PS, let's connect it to the result and let's get the ground speed to here. Ground velocity, sorry. Let's align this with selecting and Q. Let's compile and save all. Now let's go back to the logo. We want to get the rule to back, like that. This rule should be ground speed and less than. Now we want to make it, for example, 500, which is our. Sorry, let's make it 505, a little bit over the normal walking speed, so it comes back. Because if we make it 499, for example, it might not go back. Okay, let's compile, save. Now if we go and test, and if you run, you can see she's running like a mad girl. Okay, like this. This doesn't look good, but yeah, it works as it's supposed to work. And yeah, I think that was all for this video. If you liked what you saw, please click the like button and subscribe for more. I have a pretty long Call of Duty Zombies tutorial series on my channel. It has already like 87, 88 episodes and more are coming. So yeah, if you are into that kind of stuff, please go and check that out. People have liked it a lot. And yeah, hope you have a great day and see you on the next one. Bye.